Hi guys, it's Johan, the digital nomad Swede, coming to you from Sweden. And I thought if you're thinking of maybe coming to Sweden as a digital nomad, you might be interested in the forest, because we have a lot of it. So I thought today I have a look around in the forest with you and tell you some good stuff, what you can find, and also some downsides with the Swedish forest. So let's go. Now a lot of the Swedish forest is very heavy-handedly managed. I think it's 95% of the Swedish forest is production forest, and the way they do it is like this. You see, clear cutting, bringing all the trees out and then planting new trees. This clear cutting actually has some fir trees standing and some birch, but still it's a very, very strong cutting away of the trees. And if I turn around here to the other side, you can see this is planted forest. It's mainly spruce trees, which the landowners usually plant with some other trees as well. Now this forest I would estimate to be maybe, well, let's say 40 years. These trees are not ripe for harvesting yet. I think they let them grow to 70 years, maybe 90 years, but still. It's also very common that they use trees in manufacturing of paper, toilet paper and such, and in that process you can cut any tree, like even if it's small, you can still make pulp out of it, so it doesn't really matter. So this planted forest is, I guess, it's pretty nice to walk around in a way. There are moss growing on the ground, and in the autumn I can find mushrooms here. But if you come to Sweden and want to see the old growth forest, maybe this isn't exactly what you were imagining. If you want to see really old trees, you have to go to nature reserves here. If you go to the far north, where the mountains meet the forest, that forest is very old, several hundred years old. But this is sort of the situation here in Sweden. Well, we do have activists working to protect the forest here, to let it grow to be old, and I think also the European Union now is placing demands on Sweden to protect the forest, to manage it more carefully, mainly to help to sustain the biodiversity, because the biodiversity is suffering when you are treating the forest more like a field of grain or something. So a more sustainable way of managing your forest, it could be that you let nature have its way, and you don't plant the trees, but instead you just let the trees grow that want to grow, and there's like a natural progression of trees coming in, and you'll just let them grow until they're big enough for the taking, and preferably they would go to make boards and like building materials, and you take the really big ones, you leave the younger ones. It's important for continuity and biodiversity that there are trees of different ages in the forest, and also that even dead trees are laying around because many insects and animals actually live off these dead trees, and yeah, they play a vital role as well. Actually, in another episode, I'd like to talk more in depth about this sustainable forest model and explain a little bit more how it works and what the benefits are. It's really interesting, actually. So where I'm staying at now, we have a mine nearby, and for some reason they cut down all the trees in this spot and just keeps on digging up the dirt. I'm not sure exactly what they use it for, maybe some sort of landfilling somewhere else. For the most part, they don't make much of an impact because it's an underground mine, but this really doesn't look very pleasant, I must say. There is also an upside to the mine owning forest in the area, because they are not primarily owning land to harvest the trees. So as you can see here, they just leave the forest alone most of the time. So we have also quite a few really tall trees, like these spruce trees here must be over 100 years easily. And this is the kind of thing I like to see more of in our forests. I wanted to show you this lichen here that grows on this tree, this old birch tree. If you translate it from Swedish, this lichen is called the beard lichen, because it looks like an old man's beard, I guess. And this lichen is a sign that, well, for one thing, that the tree has been standing here for a long time, because it takes a long time to form this lichen, and also that the air and surroundings are pretty healthy. The air is good, and the moisty. Here's another example of a really nice piece of lichen growing. It's really very long. This is droppings from the moose. We have quite a lot of moose in Sweden, and yeah, you don't see them very often, but if you're lucky, you might encounter them. And driving in the twilight, you should be careful, because then they might step out on the road, so you can't drive too fast when the darkness settles in. Well, this here is blueberry plants, I guess you can call them. And there's a lot of blueberries in late summer here. It's also possible to see how much this plant has been grazed, to see how many grazing animals are in the area. As you can see here, it's pretty... it hasn't been grazed very much, though it's not super tall either, but I guess the animals can't really get to the plant if it is like buried under the snow. I don't know if you can see this, but here are a few traces of grazing, actually. And if there's been a lot of grazing, then that's also a sign of that there's probably a lack of predators in the area, because the grazers feel very comfortable just hanging around in one spot and grazing as much as they like. And generally in Sweden there aren't so many big predators around, like wolves, for example. We have wolves, but it's not very many. And here is some droppings from a hare, forest hare, and it's funny to have this snow in one way, because you can see traces of animals much easier, and especially the tracks. Let's see if we can find some tracks for you as well. Here's an interesting track. Unfortunately, I'm not really an expert on tracks, but this looks like some sort of an like some predator, maybe a fox, but it's kind of big. Let me show you my hand. There you go. Could it be a wolf? I think wolf paws are bigger. But I don't know, maybe we have an expert in the audience that can give me some input about this. Here are some traces of a squirrel feeding on spruce cones. So I would like to end by saying that if you like nature, I really don't want to discourage you from coming to Sweden, because it is really nice in the forests here, but this is more like a video that says manage your expectations a little bit. There are also a lot of lakes and nice places to visit. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.